Prevention of microbial contamination in spices during processing and storage. Actions can be taken at every step throughout the growing, harvesting, drying, transportation, and processing of spices to ensure that a clean, safe spice is ultimately delivered to the consumer. Development of supply chain approval and revaluation programs and adherence to GAPs, GMPs, and HACCP plans reduce the likelihood of microbial contamination throughout the supply chain. These programs also help reduce the introduction of filth, which, in turn, reduces risk for microbial contamination. Supply chain approval and revaluation programs. Spice manufacturers should establish robust supplier prerequisite programs to evaluate and approve suppliers. These programs may include audits of supplier facilities, periodic requalification that takes into consideration whether the supplier conducts microbiological monitoring of their process environment or uses validated microbial reduction techniques, and periodic raw material ingredient testing upon receipt. A certificate of analysis should be obtained from the supplier that includes results of microbial testing, sample size analyzed, and method and lab certification. These controls may be difficult to implement when materials are purchased from markets of collectors, and the burden of ensuring a pathogen-free spice falls on the domestic spice importer and/or processor. Good manufacturing practices. GMPs have been outlined elsewhere, including the FDA's CGMP Regulations 21 CFR 110 and the Codex General Principles of Food Hygiene. Manufacturing facilities involved in the processing of spices should manage their operations following GMP guidelines. Sections focusing on worker hygiene, cleaning, sanitizing of physical facilities, utensils, and equipment, pest control, rubbish disposal, and the design and construction of plants and equipment to facilitate cleaning are particularly pertinent to reducing the risk of microbial contamination of spices. Sanitation Standard Operating Procedures. Each plant should adopt the 8 Sanitation Standard Operating Procedures, SSOPs, specified in 21 CFR 120.6. These are written instructions describing each sanitation procedure, how to properly complete the task, the frequency with which each procedure is performed, and the need to record the identity of the persons responsible for the implementation and maintenance of the SOP. Sanitation Standard Operating Procedures. SSOPs should address safety of the water that comes into contact with food or food contact surfaces, condition and cleanliness of food contact surfaces, including utensils, gloves, and clothing, prevention of cross-contamination from insanitary objects to food, and from raw product to processed product, maintenance of hand washing, hand sanitizing, and toilet facilities. To learn more, download the app Food Safety Standard. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube.